Sundays. Sunday Night Raw.
Thanks for tuning in to Sunday's podcast. The first one went, I think, better than we were both expecting. So thanks for everyone that listened to us ramble on for like 27 minutes or whatever it was. Real Stoned is rolling up a joint. How big is this joint going to be? Are you doing a Cubano or?
Yeah. I thought that was supposed to be our tradition. This is
Okay.
the second episode. We can't stop now.
So, second
We'd be real
episode.
quitters.
I mean, you got to get real stoned to fit into the name.
Oh, I had a few dabs before coming here.
Oh, okay. I get it. Pre-game dubs, you know?
Exactly, pre-game dabs. I had some dabs. Then I went to the dressing room and I got, mic'd up and I did my makeup and my hair and everything.
You do realize that this is just audio, not video.
I know. But for me to be here, it's got to be the whole package.
It explains why you look better than me right now.
Well, yeah, exactly, right.
You put cologne on too, didn't you?
Yeah, that's actually Versace.
So while Real Stone keeps rolling up this
These
mini
terps. Smell the citrique. For those at home, this is like a very
tickled the
citricy,
back of my
almost
throat.
lemon pissy. Yeah.
almost lemon pissy.
Almost lemon pissy.
You should submit that to
Lemon
Leafly.
pissy, like there's lemon in there, but it's almost like cat piss at the same time.
I love the cat
Some lemon
piss
pissy
strains.
terps.
That it's the ammonia terpenes that I'm getting from that. That's cool. So yeah, while you roll that mini bat, we are going to talk about a couple of things that people had asked us. I know you got a couple of messages too. I did. We didn't get too many people comment on the YouTube. I think we just had like one person comment there, which is cool. Like whichever way you want to message us, I'm cool with. We check all platforms just to make sure we don't miss anyone, and we try our best to get back to everyone too. But the first topic I kind of wrote down here for us to go over is how to use mushrooms for the first time.
Set and setting.
Yeah.
Those are like pretty much go hand in hand. Those are the most basic fundamentals.
That will absolutely make or break your trip. First of all, I think it's super important that you are aware of the risks. Anything in life has a risk to it.
Yeah.
Regardless of what it is. So I'm not here saying like, don't do drugs, kids. I'm saying do the drugs, but do your research before doing the drugs so you make sure that it's something you're prepared to fully go through with. Mushrooms are an incredible drug. They can teach you a lot about yourself, but you have to make sure you're prepared for what you're going to learn.
Well, mushrooms are tryptamine.
Yeah.
Which are known to lower blood sugars. I know that personally from personal experience.
Yep,
So
which we'll definitely get into on one podcast.
Yeah, like some people do stay fast beforehand, so it hits you harder, and that is a factor. But I will say it does drop your glucose levels. So if you have an issue with that or you're diabetic, that's one thing to make sure you're checking your blood sugar levels if you're a diabetic and keeping on that.
We're not medical professionals by any means, but we know just from personal experience, and like Real Stone said himself, and with myself too, like hearing friends talk about their first time, you learn the do's and don'ts. So I personally think the best way to do it is not on a fully empty stomach. Maybe if you plan on doing it throughout the day, like have a really nice hearty breakfast and then wait a couple hours and then go into the mushrooms. A lot
I
of
don't
people
like to have a full stomach either. I find if I have a full stomach, I'm
hurts
gonna
your
have
stomach
some
on the way. Yeah. The beginning of the ride's a lot bumpier that way. So you could just eat them right out the bag. We typically are a little bit more careful with it. I think just because my personality, if you know me personally, I like to have everything planned out. And so we plan out like how many grams we're going to take. We weigh them on a scale. And then we bought these really cool little reusable tea bags off of Amazon. They're just like silicone. And so what we basically do is we stuff one of the bags with all of the mushrooms, and then I like my personal favorite tea flavor is like lemon ginger when I'm mixing it with mushrooms, because I know ginger has a lot of properties that help with soothing the stomach and helping with all that. And because mushrooms are known to kind of give you a little bit of a stomach ache, I believe, is it gut rot they call it?
Yeah, but I want to also touch up there and say that lemons have their own reaction thing with mushrooms. It's like mangoes to weed. There's a way to do them. I feel like I'm kind of getting ahead of the topic here, but one of the ways that I do know that people do them is they'll take a shot glass and they'll grind up their mushrooms very fine, put it in a shot glass, and soak it with lemon juice.
Oh.
Just straight, real lemon juice. Because what that does, it starts to see, the whole thing is when you eat the mushroom, your stomach is, when you're digesting it, it's changing the chemical compound of the mushroom, making it active, making you hallucinate, right? And when you're soaking it in lemon juice, what you're doing is you're pre-activating it. So theoretically, what they say is you get a faster turn on rate of the drug, so the mushrooms kick in faster, and it's more intense, I believe, but doesn't last as long, I believe.
Oh. Well, we make it in a tea, and we just basically boil water and then put the mushroom tea bag and then the lemon ginger tea bag in a cup and let it sit there for how long?
You don't need very long, really.
I think we do like 20 minutes or something, just let it sit there.
It's probably already overkill, but really, like, I think the biggest thing is you don't want to get the mushrooms too hot. So I think the biggest rule of thumb is you shouldn't boil the mushrooms with the water. You should do it two separately.
Yeah.
Like, just boil the water and then pour it over the cup with the mushrooms in it.
Yep.
As a teenager, we all used to put them on our pizza
Yeah.
and just pretend like it was regular mushrooms.
Gluten-free, dairy-free pizza already as it is not appetizing. Adding magic mushrooms to it,
Just add them to a vegan pizza.
I don't know if I am down for that. I'll keep my tea. I like the tea because I don't have to really go through the flavor that people complain about and the textures, and it's just easy and it works. It's never failed us yet, so it's good. So we're about to light the joint, or the mini bat, as I like to call it.
Yeah, the like almost 6 gram joints.
Yeah.
Cannot wait for the viewers to start looking at how different we get with the conversation. Yeah, so like I said, I recommend, if, for your first time going like camping or something, doing them outside, something in the open nature and stuff like that. Some people I know who do them inside, they kind of need to go outside after and wander off. So if you're in the woods, it's a lot easier to wander off and kind of have a good time. And then some other people like to do them in darkness too. They like to just kind of sensory cut off and just let everything go crazy, let the creativity go. They'll just kind of sit in a dark room and let it go. I've also heard like with a flotation tank, it's pretty cool as well.
Like the deprivation tanks?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I've never done that. I would like to. I don't know if I could do that while on mushrooms. Like, I think it would be too much.
Potentially, but you can always get out. If you remember.
That's true. So if we were to summarize how we recommend to do mushrooms for the first time, I would say if you're doing it alone, maybe just let a friend know that you're comfortable with that. Hey, I'm going to do mushrooms for the first time. Like, check up on me.
Yeah, I'd probably turn off your phone.
Yeah, definitely.
One of the worst situations I've ever had is I'm tripping my face off, you could say, and I'm outside trying to find my way back home.
E.T. go home.
And the phone picks up, and I somehow managed to pick it up. And also midway through the conversation, I'm having a hard time keeping track that I'm even on the phone. So something that I would recommend is probably, you don't want your boss calling you into work or something like that, and you're picking up the phone, or your family members calling you, and you're seemingly like incoherent.
So we spoke about we're getting higher, it's getting harder. We spoke about how to take it, your setting, pretty much how to do it. Another recommendation is music. music can definitely set the tone for the environment. So if you have like a favorite band, favorite musician, anything that you really enjoy and find comfort in, have that going, even if it's slightly in the background, because it will guide you through the trip a lot better. It's just smoother. It's more comforting.
Yeah. You know, and the vibes of the music too do matter. I mean, you know, you're playing some Pink Floyd is very different from playing some heavy metal.
Yeah,
Two different vibes you're going to be getting in the room. You know what I mean?
Hopefully you'll learn something great out of it. It'll show you something you've never seen before and
yeah,
make you grow.
And, you know, if you find yourself having a bad time and you decide to skip the whole trip sitter, or your trip sitter is just not really being that trip sitter that you need at the time, sometimes you just need to sit there and pull yourself together in a sense and just kind of be like, hey, I ate some mushrooms. I'm expecting for things to be a little bit different. Because if they weren't, then something would be wrong. So remember that, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to remind yourself, I did take some drugs. Or some plants and herbs. You know, however you want to look at it. Hallucinogens and / psychedelics. And, you know, sometimes you just got to remind yourself that you got to ride the wave and you're not going to die.
The wave is very different for everyone. Some people say it lasts them like 8 hours. Some people say it's like a 5-hour thing. But there's typically, with any drug, you go up and then you go down. And the down, I mean, it's very different for kind of everyone. But when you're going down, it's nothing too crazy. I actually like the come down the most. Because I feel like while I'm in it, like really in the wave, on the wave, whatever you want to say, there's so much going on that I'm processing. I don't get to take it all in as much as I'd like to. I don't soak in all the information that I'm getting. But when I'm going down and I'm sobering up, that's when I'm the most reflective. And that's when at any time of me ever having a journal, I would write it then. It's when I'm coming down because the depth perception comes back and
no one's really going into their trip journal when they're peaking. If you look back at it, it looks like a psychopath wrote it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like you can't make sense of it.
Yeah. You yourself can't even read.
You yourself, you look back at it. I've straight up have done that. I've done the whole trip book or trip journal and sat there after my trip and was like, what am I drawing? What am I writing about? Like, I just can't make the correlation between what I was trying to get myself to remember and stuff. You know, sometimes it just seems like gibberish.
But yeah,
I think that's it for the how to do the mushrooms for the first time.
The only thing I would like to add is, if you do mushrooms for the first time and you have a horrible experience, try to remind yourself that even though it was horrible, it was teaching you something. So try your best to take away what it was exactly it was trying to teach you. Because it could just be so horrible in your perception because of how much you were taught and you just became extremely overwhelmed. So definitely just keep an open mind. And don't let it discourage you from doing it again. Just really think, like, was my setting the correct setting? Was it a health issue that caused it? Just really try to get to the root cause of why your trip was so bad, because there's definitely a reason for it. You just have to figure it out and hopefully prevent it from happening again so you can continue on that path of psychedelics. Honestly,
I feel like bad trips are people who have, like, shit that they have to work through inside of them. That they just want to keep that shit in their own personal closet.
I absolutely agree.
You know?
Not even
and
their own
like,
personal closet. Like, it's at the back
that's
of
what
the
I'm saying.
personal
you know,
closet.
It's
yeah.
in the trunk in the closet. You know? And it's like, you know, that's your subconscious trying to work through that. And, you can only pass trauma once you work through it.
Yep. So yes, definitely a good last note to talk about, because that's Very
For some
important.
people, it's just because some kid on the playground in
Yeah.
kindergarten came up to them and took their
Everyone
water
has
bottle.
their
You know
story.
what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. Just gotta work it through.
The next topic we want to touch up on was a recommendation also from one of our viewers, or listeners, I guess we'll call it for now. The question was, the topic they wanted us to talk about was, why aren't there safe smoking sites for cannabis users like there are safe injection sites? I want Realstone to give his opinion on this because I am almost certain our opinions are going to differ on this subject. So I want you to go first.
Okay.
And I'll smoke.
Well, that's different. I don't have to hold the joint for a bit. So here's the difference here. First off, I just want to say, I am pro injection sites because my whole thing is that regulation, although it allows a lot of the government interaction, which a lot of people hate, you got to look at it from a health point. It's all about safety first when it comes to safe injection sites. You're not having these people on the street reusing needles and stuff like that. They're in a safe environment. I've heard of things like places in BC, they have actual pharmaceutical heroin and stuff like that they give out and stuff like that. So it's very, I look at it from a health first perspective, So I'm going to look at also safe cannabis consumption sites as a health aspect. I grew up in a city that had multiple vapor lounges, and at these vapor lounges you were also allowed to smoke. It was pretty much, you go in, there was a menu that you could order food off of, snacks. Different places kind of had a different theme. My most favorite one was called Vapor Central. I don't know if it's still going. I think it is, but it's a little bit different right now with COVID. I think it's shut down because of COVID, but it was like, you go in and there's couches, tables with chairs. Every table has a volcano vaporizer. There's bongs you can rent. There's TVs going along the sides of the room that, because they do movie night and stuff like that. Every day of the week is a different theme, right? They got live music night, live comedy night. There's a little stage area there where you get artists coming and doing stuff. And that to me is almost like a black market safe consumption site. You know what I mean? It's not a government regulated thing. It's not somewhere where you're going to have a registered nurse, but it was already the people having a spot to go and safely use and not be judged or get arrested for, even though there are cops usually right outside. There was no issue. And the craziest thing is I'd go there sometimes with my cousins sometimes, and there'd be dudes, old white dudes in suits, businessmen from downtown Toronto, from like trade stocking and stuff, that would be there blazing. People of all walks of life, and that's cool to see. But it would also be cool to see a place where you could go, use your medication, and also have a registered nurse there in case of anything. Some of these people who use medical marijuana have serious they have illnesses that are just very, very bad, and it would be nice to have an area that they could, because it's like this: you go to the legal store to get your legal weed. As a medical patient, there's nowhere to go get your legal medical marijuana. You have to go to a legal store. You have to pay tax on it because you still have to pay tax on medical marijuana, even though it's a medication in Canada. And then where do you go to use it? Municipalities make up their own rules. Certain places, like here in Beaumont, you can't even go outside in public. You can't go to the park. You can't go anywhere. And at the same time, it should definitely be like, hey, are you guys driving? You know what I mean? Like the bar should be. Not like a bar hand, but like, whoever is there working with the people, if somebody's fucked on edibles, don't let them get behind the wheel. Like, it should be common sense shit. Like, you know what I mean?
I disagree that there should be safe smoke sites like there are safe injection sites. But I also agree. But there's a difference within the context of where I agree or disagree. I disagree because I do not believe cannabis should be considered the same substance as would be the substances used at safe injection sites. The two are not the same, so therefore I don't think there should be the same facilities for them.
Oh, I
Where-
agree. Like, it shouldn't be under the same roof.
Where
It should be different places.
I agree with the question, or for us to talk about it, is I think, to your point, there should be areas where you can go and smoke and not be penalized for it. I think I legally, as a human being that walks this earth and contributes toward being a human being of this earth, I should be allowed to smoke a joint wherever I please, within reason. I don't think there should be smoking on playgrounds, cannabis or cigarettes. I just don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's needed. And therefore, I agree with it not being allowed. I get the reasons behind it. You don't have to agree with me, people, but that's how I feel with that. However, if I am walking along the street in my neighborhood, or someone's outside a bar smoking a cigarette, I should be able to smoke a joint. Like, I feel like it's still not as fair to be a cannabis smoker as it is to be a cigarette smoker. And I think those two, although I don't think they're on the same level, they should be treated the same in such. I also think the same way you can go buy alcohol and you can go to a bar and drink and not be penalized like you are if you were doing that with cannabis, shouldn't be allowed either. Like, I think the same way I can go to a bar with friends and drink, I should be allowed to go to a weed bar, we'll call it, and smoke with my friends and not be looked at any differently or judged any differently in the court of law. But we are. That's kind of why it's like it's a double-ended sword in my eyes, that question.
It's all double-edged, man.
Yeah, because I would love, I want it to be more acceptable, but I don't think by making it more acceptable, by treating it to the extent of having a safe site to use cannabis, I don't know. I'm too baked.
No, I mean, like...
I hope my point came across, though.
No,
Okay.
I think, your point came across. You think that there should be places that you can use it, but it shouldn't be, like, connected to other facilities. It should be its own separate
Not even
thing.
just connected. It shouldn't be treated like a safe injection site is. Yeah.
Okay, so the next one.
So what was...
We have good munchie restaurants.
Oh, good munchie restaurants. Anyone that knows us knows we like food. But anyone that really knows us knows we have allergies. You follow yours. Bless your soul. Very proud of you with that. I do not. Well, I am now. But
That, I guess, is more of a personal thing, right?
yeah.
I mean...
So let's say, as if we didn't have our allergies to worry about, if you, after smoking this joint, that is still going, by the way, folks, but if you, after smoking this joint, could go eat anything, anywhere, where would it be?
I knew we were talking about this, but I'm so stoned right now that I was like...
Wait,
I was just
wait,
listening,
wait.
and when you said it, I was like, oh, what could I go eat right now?
Is real stoned real stoned?
I'm real stoned.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
A few places I know that I would like to go to. Right here in town,
Oh, in town, okay.
Nando's.
Yeah.
Oh, that
Nando's
chicken's
is
nice.
good.
That chicken's good. But then, I mean, then you can go to some place like Pampas and get some variety of different stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like Pampas might be too much work when you're stoned, though. Having to, like, walk around the buffet and then...
Oh, I don't even go to the buffet. I just sit my butt
I
at
guess.
the table and I with the yes and no chip,
Yep.
and they come by and it's
You'll
like,
do a lot of meat and the pineapple. The pineapple's so
the
damn
pineapple's
good
bomb.
there.
I'd go just for the pineapple.
Okay. So one more spot.
There's none of them in Alberta, but the Mandarin Buffet. I haven't been there in a while.
So you said Pampa, Mandarin, and Nando's.
Yeah, I think those are some good munchie restaurants. You go there with the munchies going, and you're gonna like
I'm
it.
shocked. I thought you were going to name one of the ones I'm going to name. So first off, I would say McDonald's. I know that's not really a restaurant, but when you're stoned, they're like, if I could eat anything, no allergies to worry about, I'd get a Big Mac combo with a large fry and a medium strawberry milkshake. When you're stoned, there's nothing like that combo. Second place would be the Keg, which I thought you would have mentioned. I like the Keg for a couple of different reasons. First off, their food's tasty. But most importantly, the atmosphere in the restaurant, like dim lights, like it's got a good vibe to just like chill in one of their comfy lounge areas. Like the bucket, not the bucket seats. What are they called?
The bench seat?
There we go. Yeah. I like to just sit in the bench seat and like the lights are dim. And plus, if you have gone to the Keg and you've never tried the Billy Miner pie, it's like an ice cream cake, but it's like a coffee chocolate ice cream cake, and it is the best thing ever. Like, I've never tried crack, but if I did, I would expect it to be like that cake. So the Keg for sure. And the third one, back home there was this Spanish style place by your high school, and I don't remember what it was called. Do you?
Polo Loco?
Polo Loco, yes. Okay, so doesn't necessarily have to be that guy's chicken, but that style chicken, like the Spanish rice and I don't know, just all the seasonings he used to put on it, that stuff was delicious. Like, Portuguese food's good, but that Spanish rice, so good.
With the hot sauce.
Yeah.
Gotta get the hot.
No, the mild.
Hot.
That shit hurts when you're trying to shit it out, man. I don't know how you guys do it.
Oh, man, that was the best. When I was in high school, it was a quarter chicken with rice, and you get a can of pop for $5.
That's really good.
What more does a kid need?
Thank you for that recommendation to one of the other viewers. I haven't been mentioning people's names because I feel like if they want to be mentioned, let me know. But if they don't, I'm not going to call them out on their questions in case, they didn't want people to know. Yeah, sure.
Thank you, Matt, for the restaurant question.
I was waiting for you to do it. That's why I paused. I'm like, it's going to happen. It's just, it's gonna. So another topic that someone wanted us to touch up on was the new consoles, PS5 and the Xbox Series X.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, let's do a disclaimer first off, though. What console do you currently use?
So I want to sound as unbiased as I can by saying
he's an Xbox user.
That I now use Xbox, but I went over to Xbox after my PlayStation 3. So I kind of only went to Xbox on the 360 system, and that's where I've been at. And then I never got to really fully experience the PS4. But in this time, I've had the 360, and then I had the 360S, the Slim, and then I moved from there, and I went and I got the Xbox 360X, or One. The Xbox One X, sorry. I got the Xbox One X right now, and basically with the Xbox One X, I know I kind of got lost there in the whole models, but the Xbox One X has been great. It's kind of like basically the upgraded Xbox One, but it doesn't do anything 4K, nothing like that, which is a big thing with these new next gen.
So both of them are.
Yeah, and I mean, like, there are pros and cons to each, but I mean, what it goes down to mostly, what I find with these consoles, is more of what your friends have themselves, which is becoming less and less of an issue now with cross-platform play. Which most games now that are online do cross-platform, to even involve PC. Which
means you can play with an Xbox user, a PlayStation user, PC, doesn't matter.
Yeah, like,
you can play together.
My buddy Cole, he streams as Husky, right? Husky is a streamer, and he's on Xbox. I'll play with him sometimes, and I'm on Xbox. And then Jordan, right? You know
Another
Jordan.
buddy, yep.
He's on PlayStation, and he plays with us and talks to us like no problem.
Cool. So before, the decision was mostly, what do my friends have? Who do I want to play with? What console
not
am
only
I playing
that,
with?
but also exclusive console exclusives, because there's certain game titles that you can only get on certain consoles.
Okay.
Right? It's much like why Nintendo is still around, is because, I mean, it's portable now too, but it also goes down to the whole Nintendo series that you can't get on any other console, really. I mean, if we were to go down the spec line here.
So we'll go. Do you want me to just read it?
Yeah,
some of
let's
them
go
real
for
quick?
it. Mm-hmm.
So PlayStation 5 versus Xbox Series X. The price. Now this could be American.
Yes, it's American pricing.
Okay, so
Yeah,
American
sorry about that.
pricing, no worries. PS5 is $500. PS5 Digital Edition is $400. No idea what that means. And the Xbox is $500.
The PS5 Digital doesn't actually have the capability of playing the disc. It is more for people who buy their games through the online store and stuff like that, the PlayStation Play Store, that are content like that.
I think that's actually really cool they do that, because honestly, for $100 difference, if Xbox gave me that option, I would get the digital, because I get everything digitally. I don't buy any games.
One thing I'll say is that there are still like those certain games that will do like...
And collectors.
That's what I was
going
to say for collectors. Like Call of Duty is one of those games that used to do every so often, they do like something in person that you could pick up with the whole prestige mode, I think they'd call it, or something.
Yeah.
And other games, that would do stuff like that would actually give you something physical, like Fallout.
So pros and
like
cons to... You save a little bit of money, but it just depends on the type of gamer that you are.
Totally. Depends on the type of gamer you are. Yeah.
Release date, November 12th for PS5 and November 10th for the Xbox, so a couple days before PS5.
Very minimal difference there.
Very minimal.
2 days is not
That
a
is
difference,
literally
really.
just to help the store so that there aren't like a lineup of 1 million people outside of them.
Can you
the
imagine
day.
if they both were on the same day?
Yeah, it'd be chaos, utter chaos. The next one is CPU. So PS5 is 8-core, 3.5 gigahertz, AMD Zen 2, and Xbox is 8-core, 3.8 gigahertz, AMD Zen 2.
So the almost exact same CPU, it is literally just a difference of 0.3 gigahertz.
Yep.
Yeah.
GPU 10.3 teraflop AMD RDNA 2. And for the Xbox, 12.0 teraflop AMD RDNA 2.
So again, we're seeing them use the same components, but Xbox seems to be
just
using
has a little larger.
just slightly more. Yeah.
RAM, you're looking at the same RAM for PS5 and Xbox, 16 gigs GDDR6. Both are the same for that. Storage, PS5 has 825 gigabytes of custom solid state drive. And the Xbox Series X has 1 terabyte custom NVMe solid state drive.
Yeah. And I'm not 100% sure, but I'll speak on this. I know the Xbox has a slot to add another solid state hard drive.
Oh.
I'm not too sure how Sony's going about this situation themselves, but I'm assuming there's an expansion bay port or something left open.
Frame rate, PS5 is up to 120 frames per second. And it is the exact same thing for the Xbox Series X. So frame rate, I have learned recently, has a big impact on the quality of the game for you.
I'm kind of disappointed with the stats on both of these for the frame rate.
Really?
To
what
be
were
honest
you
with
kind
you.
of expecting?
I would have liked to see a little bit better than up to 120. I would have liked to see 120 standard.
Yeah.
Because that's just leaving it up to interpretation that, hey, you still might not even get 60 on some games. You know what I mean? And that's just kind of like, that's just one thing that I'm kind of disappointed in this next generation, because it's already something that the PC users have been able to do for a minute now.
Yeah. I mean, overall, the other thing to touch up on is design. A lot of people have been talking about their design and pros and cons. I mean, I personally don't really give a shit what it looks like unless I could have designed it myself. You know? Like, if I could customize the skins on them and all that.
If you're big on your interior design, the PlayStation is mostly white.
Yeah.
And the Xbox it's a black box. So there's those two things to take in. But I really think it goes down to where your friends are playing on and what console exclusives you're after. I know a lot of my friends are actually planning on getting both.
Yeah,
Solely on the fact of the exclusives.
I have heard a lot of them say that.
I mean, we're all kids at heart. We've all played the exclusives on both and enjoyed them, right?
Leading from that, someone else asked what games we like to play on console or computer, whatever. I'm going to start because mine's very simple.
Yeah, no, go for it.
The Sims. That is my like top favorite all-time game. I will admit to liking the Grand Theft Auto games, but I don't ever play them. I let Real Stoned beat the whole game, so I have all the money and shit to do stuff with, and then...
And this is on what console?
Xbox.
But do you prefer The Sims, or Grand Theft Auto, I should say,
hold
on
Grand Theft
computer?
Auto, it's on Xbox. I've never played it on the computer. But The Sims, I have it on Xbox right now because I just don't have a computer that can handle it with all the expansions and crap that I normally invest in. So right now I'm strictly on Xbox playing it. And mine's an Xbox One, not One X. But I do find like the graphics are pretty darn good. I get all the expansions that I need. And I've just learned this like couple weeks that have passed on Instagram. There are a bunch of people on there that like create households and have all these designs and lots available that they've created.
So you can like download them and
Exactly.
use them?
I basically go on to The Sims and download them and get to use them and configure them. I like interior design and
it lets you upload it right off your Xbox. You can upload content like that?
Yes and no. You have to go through a library, as they call it. But either way, The Sims have been the shit for me for very, very long.
So like on consoles, I like to play like Grand Theft Auto. I'll play like Call of Duty. I'll play Fallout. Just because I don't even know if, I never had it on the PC, so I never really played. But I do play some things that like the Xbox store lets me play on the PC.
Red Dead Redemption, I've seen you play too, and that one's got super
Red Dead Redemption is really
graphics.
Cool. Number 2 is really cool. There's a lot of stuff in there. I love to play that game just for the graphics.
You play a lot of different, you've got a lot of different things in there.
Well, yeah, I got the Game Pass, and so I got the Ultimate Pass actually, which is the Game Pass and the Live together, so it's cheaper.
And then we game share, which is super convenient.
So you get all the access to that. Yeah,
Definitely Google game sharing if you don't already know what that is.
It's not Google, it's Xbox Game Share.
I know, but I'm saying for them to Google it if they don't know what
Google
it is.
Oh, I get you. I thought you meant like a Google service. I was like,
yeah.
So, what else do I like to play? Yeah, on the PC, I'll play some of the stuff too, like that Dead by Daylight thing, which is it's basically like a horror movie, and there's somebody's the guy that's that goes around trying to kill everybody, and then you all are trying to escape him.
I know y'all can't see this, but I'm shaking my head no the whole time he's explaining this game. I cannot.
I used to love to play the games like Left 4 Dead on the computer and stuff.
No.
Okay.
There's a Friday night.
I don't know why you're saying no. Cause
no, I'm saying you do play them, but I'm just no, I cannot imagine doing that. Those games are hella scary. There was one that you started playing on your Xbox a while ago. You were still living at your parents', I think. And you started...
Oh, that was a long time ago.
Yeah. You were showing me, you're you want to see a scary game? And I'm like, yeah, fuck it. How bad can it be? And I it was not okay with me. I was so scared.
There's Fear, Condemned.
Yeah. There's some
so
crazy
many
ones. Yeah. So I think that summarizes the games that we like. I think we named some really good ones.
Yeah, I try to play everything, I try to play something at least once and try it out. And if I like it, I'll play it again. But it's kind of tough when there's so many available too. Like with the Game Pass, you never know what to play when you go on.
I definitely agree with the saying, there's a game out there for everyone, because there truly is. You just kind of have to see what you're into and go from there.
Yeah.
So we got another question here from a different person, and that's regarding shows, like TV shows, Netflix shows. They wanted to know what shows we're watching, and what shows we just like to watch. Like maybe our favorites, maybe they meant.
Gotta see Hannibal. If you haven't seen Hannibal on Netflix, watch it.
Hannibal's a gooder. Ratched is what we're watching. See, as a couple, we have shows that we watch together, and then we have shows that we watch together but apart because we're like different timing. And then we have shows that we just enjoy separately. Either way, so Ratched is what we're watching right now. We're, I think, halfway through. Pretty good. It's not, I will say, it's not as psychologically thrilling as I thought it would be. I feel like we're piecing it together a lot quicker than I expected. Like, I expected to really get mind-fucked. Like American Horror Story mind-fucks you, you know? This one isn't as intense that way.
Maybe they're just trying to amp up, you know, until the next seasons.
Could be.
Just,
yeah, they're really building the story.
Yeah, they're building a lot of story.
Yeah.
Before they kind of...
I'm committed to it. I'm committed. I agree. We really both enjoyed The Witcher.
Yeah, they need to put more of that out, that's for sure.
I'm hoping...
That was a good game, too.
Yeah. Game,
movie.
Oh, that's right.
The book is probably good, too, but I never got around to reading that. There's honestly so much, and then when I try to think about it, it's hard
I know.
to come to mind.
I'm trying to picture my list.
I'm doing Peaky Blinders right now on Netflix, and it seems to be pretty good so far. I'm into it. But another one, too, that is... I'm surprised still has my attention is The 100. Because it's 7 seasons in right now.
Yeah.
And they're only doing like an episode a week. So it's kind of like, sucks, can't binge it. But it's really like, they find a way to make the seasons keep going. They just come up with a way, and it's like, hey, this crazy stuff's going on now, and this is how the story is. And then you're like, you know what? It works. Well, you know, the characters that are still alive are keeping me interested, so...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one's a good one too. It's got a lot if you like to binge stuff. It's got 7 seasons.
If you like the vibe from Ratched and American Horror Story, I know American Horror Story isn't on Netflix, but if you've heard of it and seen it, The Haunting of Hill House, the 2nd season is coming out October 10th or October 1st. I can't remember now, but soon. And so the first part was The Haunting of Hill House, and I think the 2nd season, which is the 2nd part, I think they're trying to name it as, is The Haunting of Bry Manor, I believe. But The Haunting of Hill House was the scariest thing I have ever been able to watch front to back. And that says a lot because of the storyline behind it. Like, the story sucked me right in. As scary as it was, that fucking bent neck lady, I started thinking about her the other day, and I'm like trying to convince myself as I sleep these last couple of nights that she's not there.
Yeah.
Because she just, in that show, she was such a big part of it. And you don't, like, you realize it when she first comes up. You're like, okay, damn, this bitch is here to stay. Like, there's something going on here. But when you actually find out what's going on behind the bent neck lady, it's even more powerful than you could have ever thought. Like, I'm not going to say much more because I feel like I might spoil it if I do. But The Haunting of Hill House, the story was on point. The thrilling aspect is on point. Everything, like, there's nothing I feel like they could have done better for that show. It truly is, like, incredible. There's a lot of theories on different aspects of the show and what they really meant. And one of them was brought up, and it's not a theory, the show producers actually confirmed it, is that they hid a lot of ghosts throughout the episode, throughout the houses.
Yeah, the house, I should say.
Yeah. So in different scenes, if you look closely, you'll actually see different ghosts, and they're all like interconnected somehow. But that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say any more than that, because you truly just have to see it to believe it. And I can't wait to see the 2nd season of it. I'm going to shit myself, but it'll be worth it.
It'll be worth it, right?
Yeah.
And if you guys have any other topics that you want us to talk about, definitely message us up. Let us know what you want us to talk about. We're going to start adding our own topics more into here and making these episodes a little bit longer, I think. So if there's anything you guys want us to talk about, definitely let us know. We'd love to fill in that time.
We are also open to having people as a guest. on the little show, podcast, whatever you want to call it. We've been reached out to by a couple of different people that we definitely want to have up on here. So, but if you're one of them that wants to be featured on the show, or if you have any topics like Real Stone said, just hit us up.
Definitely.
We love to talk about it. We hope everyone has a good week and that everyone stays medicated as per usual. And we'll be back next Sunday with more.
Definitely.
Peace.
Until next time, guys.